Hello guys, today is the last video of United States Week 2022. Big sad, very sad. However, today's video is probably one of, if not the most important video I have made this week. And that is because it's about the preservation efforts of the SS United States. Now, I have a document pulled up here, which is the SS United States Conservancy 2020 and 2021 plan, basically. They're like business plan. I mean, they're not exactly a business, they're a non-profit, but you get what I mean. And there's a section here called Engagement with RXR Reality, and this is really one I want to hone in on today because it's really important. RXR Reality, if you don't know, is a real estate company based in New York that has preserved a lot of historical stuff. Their main objective basically is they see things that, they think, oh, we can make, obviously we can make money off of this. So they get something, they buy it or work with the current owners, restore it, and they get part of the profits. And that's what their whole business, right? Which honestly is a really respectable thing in my opinion. So their next, I guess, target was the United States recently. In 2018, they entered into a deal with the Conservancy, and as of, I believe, March of 2022, if I recall correctly, they signed a deal, not 2022, 2020, my bad, March of 2020, they signed a deal with the United States Conservancy stating that they would pay, I believe, $60,000 every month to help keep the ship, existing in its current dock in Philadelphia. And then once a city was chosen and shipyards were prepared and, engineering firms ready and a plan was set in stone, then they would help pay, if not pay in its entirety, the redevelopment costs for the ship, the towing costs and all that. I don't know exactly what the caveat is for that. I don't know if they're going to get part of the profits from it, or if they're going to partially own it, or, I don't know that, right? I don't know if they're going to, they might own it outright even. I'm not sure. Because, if the ship is preserved, then the United States Conservancy isn't really needed anymore. Although it would be kind of sad to see it go, seeing as, they have a lot of historical information organized in one place, and that might be lost if the business were to dissolve. But that's kind of a different thing. So I wanted to hone in on a few paragraphs here. Specifically this one. I'll read it here for you guys. For the United States, RXR has assembled a best-in-class architectural and engineering team, including Perkins Eastman Architects, HLW, and Gibbs & Cox, which were the ship's original design firm. Having already invested significant funds in their first due diligence period, RXR is proceeding with the next phase of design development. While slowed by the COVID-19 crisis, they have embarked on a nationwide request of expressions of interest, or RFEI, process to locate an optimal permanent location for the ship. The target cities are Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Miami, Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego. I did a little bit of paraphrasing there, but that's essentially the paragraph. But this is really important because last I knew, the talks they weren't just talking about them at all. Because they're like, oh, we made this huge deal with RXR now, and then it just went quiet. Radio silence ever since mid 2021. But actually, it was because of COVID-19. So now that I see this and realize it was because of COVID-19, to know that the plan has been set in stone, that is really nice to know. So, yeah, the plan has been set in stone. Not entirely, but the contract has been signed. And if I scroll a little bit more, might be able to find it. But somewhere in the plan, the business plan or whatever, they did state that RXR had already started paying. Actually, they said in the paragraph here about how they paid the due diligence period. My bad. But so RXR, yes, has indeed started paying for the ship's not restoration, but the docking costs and things of the sort. I believe $60,000 a month is what they agreed upon. They could be paying more. I'm not sure, but now onto a little bit of speculation here. What city do I think she will go to? This is a really interesting situation because we're at a crossroads right now. This is kind of a first in shipping history. You know, oftentimes it's the city that reaches out and wants to buy the ship, but now it's the opposite. And so this time there's actually a lot of options to choose from. Not exactly, but there's a lot of options that are there on the table. I think, I can't exactly remember. Let me look it up where Long Beach is, but I believe it's by Los Angeles here. Let me see here. Long Beach is, let's see here. Sorry, I am not a Californian, so if you are Californian, I deeply apologize. Yes, it is by Los Angeles. So, it's by Los Angeles. So I don't think they will accept because the Queen Mary is already there, undergoing restoration costs, which costs a lot of money. And since a lot of the waterfront around Los Angeles is owned by Long Beach, I imagine they won't accept. San Francisco is a might. It maybe. I'm not sure. And then there's San Diego. I believe that's further north in California. I might be wrong on that. But to be honest, I don't want to offend any Californians out there. You have a great state, but I would think it would actually be better if the ship didn't go there. Because obviously there's already a lot of foot traffic going to the Queen Mary, which is already suffering. Mainly because of mismanagement, yes. But if she's going to be mismanaged in California, then who says the United States won't be either? So, you know, I think she would probably do better on the East Coast. I think that would definitely be a better plan. As for where, New York and Philadelphia are really strong ones because almost everybody in like Philadelphia city proper knows the United States. Maybe not by name, but they've seen her before because she's right there in Philadelphia, right? So I think a lot of foot traffic might go there if she was in Philadelphia. That might be a really good spot for her. New York, it depends because New York's a huge city, so keep in mind docking costs will be a lot for the ship, and they won't be able to make a really big complex on land because she's going to be docked at one of the piers, and she cannot be at her own pier anymore because that is occupied by the Intrepid, Growler, I believe is something next to the Intrepid submarine. I believe it's Growler, and the Concorde, which is on a barge, if I recall correctly, last I've seen, because I have been there before. But Intrepid is already occupying her pier space at Pier 86, so I think if you're going to move her to New York, put her back at her pier, but since it's not possible, I'm not sure if it would be worth it. It depends, though. Boston might be an interesting one, to be honest. I could totally see Boston. Boston already has a lot of historical artifacts, so it would definitely be possible. They already have the Constitution there and a few other things. They're a very historical city, so I think she might actually do really well in Boston. The cold might be a problem. I'm not sure. It really depends. I'm not sure how exactly she would deal with it. But I think overall Boston might be a good city. And the final one here, or there's two actually. There's Seattle, which we'll cover real quickly. I don't think Seattle's a good choice, to be honest, because for the same reasons I covered. If there's going to be a ship on the West Coast, might as well have one on the East Coast, you know. And I think Washington, I just think there might not be enough foot traffic in Seattle. Seattle's a huge city, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if it would have enough foot traffic. And plus, there's already a shipyard, but there is a naval base there. I want to say Puget Sound, but I believe that's in Virginia. Can't exactly remember the name of it right now. But, so, it depends. You know, the fact that the city's, you know, already has ships there, it might help. It might, you know, make the ship more popular, or it might have the opposite effect. You know, people might not want to see her because of that. It really depends. Now, the final one here is a really interesting one I want to cover, Miami. And now, I'm going to inform you guys, I am Floridian, so I might be biased, but I think Miami is definitely one of the best choices for her, because Miami has a huge seafaring culture, and it is also the cruise ship capital of the world. So, a lot of tourists coming in, and a lot of ships already there. Trust me, I've been to Miami many times in my life. I can tell you, people love everything water down there. It is, that's why I think it would probably be the best place, because out of all these places, I think very few actually have a huge seafaring culture. And I think Miami is one of the ones that does have a massive seafaring culture. The city is built around the sea, I think. So, I think it would be the best place for the United States, in my opinion. Plus, obviously, you would see epic videos of me going there, because, Miami. But, besides that, I think Miami or Boston would probably be the best places for the ship. New York and Philadelphia are probably right behind it, but Philadelphia is probably third, and then I would say New York. New York might just be a little bit too crowded because the Intrepid's already there, It loses the historical value of the ship being at its pier. It really depends, though. So, continuing on, I actually think the restoration plan itself is very interesting because it's unlike almost anything we've ever seen before for an ocean liner museum. We see the Rotterdam, the Queen Mary, and the Hikawamaru, which are the main three ones that come to mind off the top of my head. And they genuinely follow their historical basis. Rotterdam, I would say, follows it the most, although I have not been to either of the three that I've just stated, so I can't exactly say for sure. But from what I've seen, I would say Rotterdam follows the most. Queen Mary's pretty close, though. But the United States would mainly follow her historical precedent. However, a lot would change, because I think, being RXR and all, I think part of the deal is they want it to be a very touristy attraction. And so they're gonna make it very, touristy. A lot of ships gonna be historical, and it's gonna be a hotel. So I think a lot of the cabins are gonna be, back to how they looked, obviously with modern amenities, like probably internet, better air conditioning, and things of the sort. But generally, they're gonna be the same. Now, I think the interesting thing is that, and the thing that especially concerns me is that if they go too far with this, like in a render they made to, show what they were making. They made a render, obviously, for the progress they had on the plan, and it doesn't have the lifeboats. And also, the front superstructure is made almost entirely of glass, and I believe part of the bow is cut out. Which concerns me because that is a complete butchering of the ship, so I hope it necessarily doesn't go that far. It is a really basic render. I will give them that. It is a very basic render. But I hope it never goes that far to completely rebuild the ship into something else, because that would be really bad. I would rather see her sunk as a reef than built into something like what she might be, in this case. So, it really depends on what RXR wants to do, but, in the end, they're gonna own the ship, or not own it, but they're gonna, I assume, co-own it with as the United States Conservancy. They're still working out the plans, as I can see here in the I guess I want to say article, whatever it is, the business plan or whatever. They said they were still working out the planning of how it's going to go down. So, it really depends on what they're going to do. But either way, I think the ship is indeed in good hands, and I think in the end she will be saved. Besides that, there's not a whole lot to say. I just wanted to make a video about how the United States is not in any immediate danger. Her condition is actually fairly good. She's at 93% hull strength. So there's not actually very much rust on her. It's mainly paint chipping. And actually, I'm going to answer a question real quick, because I know a lot of you think, oh, the ship must be in unrepairable condition, or else why wouldn't they have painted it, right? And that's actually because the ship's just so big, it's hard to paint it. The funnels alone, I think they did a cost estimation. The funnels alone would cost about $500,000 to sandblast the paint off and put new paint on. So, that's really just the cost. But in the end, the ship is in good hands. The United States Conservancy has raised over $12.7 million for the ship, which is a lot. If I do the math real quick. Let's just do some quick calculation. That's enough to pay for 211 months docking fees. Now let's consider, obviously, that this is from the start of the Conservancy's campaign in 2011. That's about 17 and a half years. So I think the Conservancy definitely has some money left in store Although I think in 2015 they pretty much ran out of money and were at one point debating whether to sink the ship as a reef or scrap it. Luckily, it never came to that though, because the Save Our Ship campaign broke through and made them enough money to continue docking the ship in Philadelphia. But overall, I think the ship is indeed in good hands, and I think she will be saved and preserved as a tourist attraction / hotel / museum. So in the end, we'll see what happens, but I wanted to make this update video just to dispel any conspiracies that, oh, the ship is about to be scrapped, or the ship is in immediate danger. No, the ship is not in danger. The ship is in very good hands right now, and she's pretty far from scrapping. I'd say she's as far from scrapping as she's ever been in the past 30 years. But, so yeah, that's really it, and I will see you guys in my next video, hopefully a week or two from now, whenever it comes out.